Hi, and welcome to Casual Conversations. This episode is a bit different than we usually do. I'm bringing a few students from Lund University onto the show, and we are talking brand design. It's an entrepreneurial education, and I am one of many mentors who is participating and helping the students in their journey of being entrepreneurs. And Today I'm having a little bit of a brand discussion and looking at what they've done so far in regards to brand design, logo, packaging, and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this format, and make sure to give it a like if you want to see more of these kind of presentation-like shows. So hope you enjoy. I'm Johan Brodfeldt, and I'm the mentor of Nicholas. Uh, I'm also part of the team and following you closely, to see how it goes for you. Could you just shortly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Nicholas. Yuan is my mentor.
Yeah.
I'm part of LuFu, and LuFu, we aim to provide lupin bean-based products for Swedish consumers as a way of moving away from soy and meat. So we're currently prototyping our products, and hopefully we'll have a product on market by the end of summer 2021.
Okay.
And my name is Jacqueline, and I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. And I'm working on the LuFu project as well. I have background in marketing and sales, so that's mainly what I have been working on for LuFu as well. And that's the plan in the future.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and my name is Eve. My background is actually psychology and HR. But then, I moved to the food industry because of this project as well. And in LuFu, mainly, I'm responsible for the product development.
Yeah, you're kind of the mastermind of the food production, right?
Yeah. Kitchen is my living room right now.
Yeah. Okay. So if I understand it correctly, you've been doing some starting up to try to do some marketing posts on social media and a website and product, and you're trying to get the production up because you see there is a demand. And you've also talked to some producer who can help you produce. So you have that in the pipeline. You're not there yet, but something going on. So you will soon also want to start to increase the level of awareness on social media and on your website and products and stuff like that. So I just thought that I have a quick look, and when I had my meeting with Nicholas, I would just briefly mention some pointers. And as I started out, it became more or less an entire presentation of things that I wanted to share with you about things that I've experienced through my entrepreneurial journey. And so this is kind of an audit for you guys, where I'm looking at what you've done so far and giving you some pointers and ideas on how to move forward. And for all the other viewers, this is like a case study where you can look at how design is implemented and ideas on how to improve it for your own business as well. So should we dive in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Brand design audit for LuFu. I'm not a designer. That's not my work. But I am a student of design, so I'm looking at a lot of design, and I'm doing branding for a few different companies as well. And I want to point out that this is not a critique of what you have been doing. It's more like looking at some things that you can improve. So I think you're doing a good job so far posting content, but this is kind of bringing that to the next level. And I want to issue a warning: when you start to look for these things, you're going to see them everywhere. So it's hard to unsee when you've seen these things. But hopefully, the goal of this presentation is to make your customers more aware of you and recognize you better. And it will also give you less work to produce new content. So those two things are the main goal of this presentation. Design is about creating feelings. So the feelings you have towards your product, that's a good thing to persuade through your marketing. So when you create your products in your kitchen, for instance, you may take some happy pictures where you are showing off what you're doing. That energy, that spirit, that will reflect over to your potential customers in the future. So you want to keep that in the loop. And the feelings is different from person to person. So not every person will relate to you, but that's all right, because you only want to target the people who relate to you or really like your products. So you don't have to bother about the people who don't relate to you. So just forget about them. They are not relevant. So that's kind of a start. I also want to show you a bit of my journey. This is where I started when I started doing real marketing on social media. And you can see I'm all over the place with colors and different type fonts and different types of content. And we've been through a journey of different designs on the website as well, as you can see, from 2006 until now. And after the question mark, we actually hired a design firm to help us create the design. And our branding material is more consistent. We have the same color, we have the same logo, we have the same font and stuff like that. So it's more recognizable, so you can see there. When we look at your logo, for instance, you can see that it works really well on the packaging, even though my personal feeling is that it looks more like one of those marks that it's a quality product, or it is ecological or something. A logo should work in all places. So if you look at the website, for instance, the logo is really small, and if you put it in front of an image, then it's kind of hard to see the logo. And also you should consider having a logo on an app icon, for instance. Then it will also be quite hard to read. You will basically only see the bar and the circle. And if you remove the bar and the circle, the font you have picked is kind of generic, so it doesn't point out. So the only thing that really points out is the large L and the large F. So you have that, like this shape to recognize you by. But we'll get into that. Then we want to look at colors. And colors is a good way to recognize a brand. It's not the end all be all, but right now you have like 3 different colors of green on your website. In the top left corner, you have these brown colors. You have some illustrations. You have the purple. This is just an image that you posted about. I like the image, but it doesn't say anything about your brand that much. And then again, you have these brown colors and the blue bowl. You have the beans, and you have this bright green color on your packaging that doesn't appear anywhere else. And you have this blue and black and white images, and you have the color images of your persona as well. So it's a little bit conflicting. So you want to pick 1 or 2 colors that you reuse everywhere in your brand, so that when you look at your brand, you can identify you both by logo and color. And when you pick a color, go with some of the color picking tools that are out there. You can use the Peloton, that is a really good tool, and just pick one color and then try to use that to either just pick a complementary color, or you can use the tools there to pick color that work well together, and just pick a few and use them all over the place. So you don't have to think about color after that. You know what colors you have, and those you play with. And that makes it easier to work in a team as well, because then you don't have to ask, oh, what color should I use for this? Because your team members also know what colors to use when they produce content. And then you should use the colors appropriately. So you have some background color that you use somewhere where just as white space, and then you have your main color, which in this case would be the green, and you have some accent color that sticks out. It could be a special kind of green, or it could be just a different color that really pushes out your content. So what I did with this is just an example. There's nothing, I'm not trying to sell you a logo or something. It's just something I did because I got this idea that got me started, and I wanted to pursue that idea to see where it led me. So you have these beans, and you want to pick a familiar shape that you relate to. It might be the flower, but I picked the bean. And then I took the shape of the bean and put your L on it in a font that I thought looked nice. Then that works as a logo. It should work in small sizes, and it should work in large sizes. It needs to work in black and white. And you should also try to put it in different settings where you can kind of reflect on how it works with different backgrounds, different colors, so that you get an idea of what works and what doesn't work. And then you can, in the team, you all know how to use the logo in different settings. So if you need, like, you have a bright image and you want to put the logo on, yeah, then you use the black version. And if you have a dark image, then you use the lighter version of the image, but it's always the same image. You just copy and paste. So that makes the work a lot easier again. So that's what we're aiming for. And then we're looking at the fonts. And right now on the web page, for instance, you have Open Sans on the main content. And on one page, there's 400 of weight, and the second one, there's 500 of weight. And I do understand it because there's a plate there that is brighter, so you need more weight to the font to make it readable. But you should not try to change the font too much. You should have the same font, the same feeling everywhere, and try to change the image to work with the font instead. And in your social media, your fonts are all over the place. You have, I think, 3 different fonts, some uppercase all the way, some lowercase. So it's not really recognizable. You don't feel that you are on the same brand. And also on one section of the web page, you have changed the font to Cormorant Garmond, which is a different font. And I don't see the reason for having a different font there. Yes, it's a nice font and it's readable, but you should pick 1 or 2 fonts. So you have one font for headlines and one font that is easy to read for body text. That's in some cases you might have a different font for your logo, but otherwise try to minimize it to have 2 fonts at most. That's my recommendation, and then everybody knows what fonts to use and use them all over. And that goes for the packaging as well. right now, I can almost feel your struggle trying to create the different packaging, because all of these are it's like playing the game of which one should we remove, and you can all come with different reasons why one of the packaging should be removed. You have some white text with green borders. You have italic on some. You have uppercase letters on some products. You have lowercase letters on others. You have these white boxes with green text to highlight the text even more. And in some cases, you reversed it and had these green boxes with white text. And then these frames and circles on some products, but not on other products. So that's try to find a way that works on one product and try to implement the same on all the other, so that you have a unified way of presenting your food. And it should work in black and white. And it should work if you blur it. So you can squint your eyes and look at it, or you can, it's like walking by the shelf and you see something, you should recognize the product. And if you just blur the images and look at them quickly, are they distinctive enough so that you recognize them? So that's what you're looking for. Then you also want to look at images, illustrations and icons and stuff like that. What type of images are you using? I personally believe that images where you produce the food and show off the food are really great. But there might be other images as well. You have a lot of images of beans. What you should think of there is that they should enhance your story. They should show what you are about and show your process, what you're doing right now. And again, looking at these images here, you have a lot of green in the social media. You have this rounded image of like Jacqueline here is actually the one that got me inspired to do most of this design here, because I thought, wouldn't it be good if that rounded shape actually was a lupin bean? But then you had this square image of Hannah. But even if you make that round, the white background wouldn't show the shape of the roundness that well. And I noticed that on Instagram, you did the rest of them rounded. So you decided on that after you did Hannah's, I guess. And that's the process. That's how you work and learn and improve your design. So that's a good thing, that you're looking and improving all the time. So keep up that work. That's good. And again, the logo on the images. So what you want is a consistent feeling when you move between your touch points. So your web page should feel the same way as your Facebook page, and that should feel the same way as looking at your product in the store or where you buy them. Even if you remove the logotype, you should still feel that this is the same brand you're engaging with. So to end this, you should start out with a simple logo that you can use in a lot of context. Pick a font for your logo and perhaps your headlines as well, that you think works well with a catchy headline. Pick at most one font for the title and one font for the body text. Add colors in a balanced, good way, and stick to those colors all over the place. Add images that enhance your story and show what you're doing and what you stand for. Add your product and make that look consistent with your brand, and make sure that it works in black and white, and if it's blurred. That goes for all designs you do, actually. You can try it out with making it black and white or blurring it, and you should still be able to identify the key features that you're looking for. Then you can add a call to action button, like the pre-order, and update your social media so it's consistent with your branding. And also make sure that your branding shines through on all the posts, because when people share your posts, they are not looking at your entire Facebook page or Instagram page. They are only looking at that little picture. So even if you take a photo and you think that's a good photo, make sure that you have something on there that shows that it's from you, it's your brand doing this. And that's all I had. So if you have any questions or feedback or thoughts, then feel free to.
No, thank you very much. I think we are in need of a brand guideline, as you could say, like a couple of guidelines as to this is the colors we use, this is what we need to think about when we post pictures and all of that, and really decide what we want to use when we post online. Yeah. So I think this will help us a lot when doing so.
Yeah, and my impression is, yeah, there are a lot of strategies and things you can think about when you select fonts and colors and stuff like that. But I think at least in the beginning, you don't have to be so picky. You don't have to be. You should probably look at the shelves where your product is supposed to be to see that you don't use the same color as other products that are just besides your product. But other than that, just pick a color that you feel that has a good vibe that relates to you, and go with that, and just stick to that for a while, and then you can always change later on. But as long as you're consistent in all your channels, and when you switch, you also switch in all your channels, then that works.
Yeah. I think like for the way it's been now is like we've just started, so everything that we've done, we've had to use photos that we had before. Like we haven't had time to build a portfolio of stock images for us that we can use whenever.
No.
So that's why we just use whatever we got, and that's why like it doesn't look very cohesive.
No, but that's the thing you have in the beginning. When you start out, you have different types of images, and some of the images you feel that they look good, others not so good, but you have to use them anyway because you want that kind of image. I struggle with the same as well, because I have a lot of images that I want an image with this content, but I don't like the image, but I don't have the time, so I need to use it anyway. But just make sure that it relates to your brand, and if you post it on social media, that you actually get the your logo on, so it's related to your brand.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's very good to have this brand design audit now before we even have built a big brand, because it would be a lot harder to change it afterwards. So it's the right time to have one. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I really want to say thank you, Johan. I think this has been really insightful. Yeah, and just like what Nick said, I think it's really important for us just to create like our own brand, like being consistent from now on. So like when we start to launch our product, like people can start to identify who we are, and what is our product. So yeah, again, thank you so much.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Jacqueline?
No, I definitely agree. Like I've been working with really big brands previously and followed a lot of brand guides.
Yeah.
So I think our case is really just like the four of us just too excited and putting everything in at the same time without having any guidelines.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good that you actually tell us that it's important, and that we just keep that on track now, where we actually gain some traction.
Yeah. So I believe you have the most skills to actually put a brand guide together.
I could try doing it. I have some good examples, so we could follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering a bit about the logo, because a lot of brands have these kind of logos that are really detailed, specific, and they even work in small scale. So I was just wondering if we maybe use the same logo, but take out the text. So it's just the lupin flowers.
Yeah.
And then we have a more like a text that's always beside or underneath, or I don't know if that would work instead, that if it's because the text is in the logo.
Not necessarily. What some brands do is they have a responsive logo. So they have like, if we have a small space, then the logo looks like this. And if we scale up, then we change the logo to include some extra things. And when you scale up really large, you have a lot of things in the logo. So that's one way to do it. So then for the website, you might want to have like the lupin shape, but it might be thicker lines and not as much curly things, but then it works in smaller scales. And then when you scale up, you change it to the more fine-lined picture. Yes, the LuFu in the text will scale down when you put it on a small space. So that might cause some problems. So if it, in the small scale, you might want to move the text out of the logo and put it by the side. So that could be a good example, yeah. But if you want the circle with the bar in the lower half, that could be kind of some identifier with some lupin flowers within.
Yeah.
So you just have to play around with it. It's a design process. You have to play around and see what works, basically. So you could definitely use that, yeah.
And I'm just wondering, Johan, when you previously worked with teams, like for example now for your own team, where are you creating Instagram posts and all of that? Are you using a tool like Canva, or do you have any other good ideas of what we could use so we have everything as a team?
Yeah, I'm using Inkscape a lot. Because it's easy to just create a shape of the image, and then I can export the image, and I could put images, and I can put logos and vector graphics in there. So that's one of the key features, that I use vector graphics, because then you can zoom in and zoom out as much as you like. If you want to pay for Adobe Illustrator or something like that, fine. But if you want a free version, then Inkscape is a really good one.
Okay, yeah, because at the moment it has actually, I'm using Illustrator and InDesign, and the rest of the team do not have access to that. So it's been a bit difficult to align the fonts and all of that, because you have different fonts in different programs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's good to get a tip on that.
But if you run on, you can always install more fonts. If you want to use some special fonts, then make sure to just download and install it. So that's no problem, because then it will be available in all the other programs as well.
Well, I think that's it for me. I don't know about Nicholas or Weeks.
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah, I think this has been like learning point a lot for me. So yeah, there's nothing to add. No, okay. Just like something to figure it out later.
Yeah. It's a process. So don't be discouraged. Just keep up the good work, and you will figure something out that looks great. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Well, thanks for today.
Yeah,
thank you, Johan.
Have a nice week. Yeah.
You too. Bye.
Bye.